Hello guys, Wahoo here, back with another video. This time around we are doing another video for MapleStory 2, and as the title says, it is a tier list. And if you've been following the channel, I actually did another tier list for MapleStory 2. I was not very informed when I did it. I did some research, but I didn't do enough research, and I apologize for that. I have since then, and that's why there's a new video, is that I've done research, I've taken the comments, and you can see some of them here actually telling me to redo it in their own specific way. Also, you can see the likes and dislikes on the video as well. So I took the video back and now I'm making a new one, and I hope this one is going to be better. So before we get into all of that, and I want to talk about this now, I am not an expert in MapleStory at all. I know some stuff. What I've researched now, I've talked to a very high in-game player that I've been friends with for a while. Talked to him. Like I said, I took the comments. I took the research also to the internet, and I tried my best to do specific tier list. And I'm also going to try my best to do not pros and cons, because there was also somebody that talked about that, but I'm going to talk a little bit what I know myself about every class. And this is not a video to tell you which class you should pick. This is not anything to do that. But you can see this is Ryan Evans' tier list. I have taken his picture from it. This is not what you should use, but my point is just what you should take from this picture is that all the classes are very close together. So if you pick, don't matter when you get in further into the tier list, don't be like, oh, I picked that class, that's the worst class, because every class or every job has its role and is not maybe the highest DPS, and this is not a tier list doing that either. This is also just to categorize them and kind of talk about each class and as much as I know about them, and also why it's important to have these classes, or not. Again, I guess not to what classes you shouldn't pick, because they're all, like you can see or you saw on that picture, they're very close together. And of course that's also his, and I'm not taking this what he made for like the the clumped up that is, but I'm just more, I like the picture because it shows that even though you pick that class or you pick that class, there's nothing that is extremely overpowered. Well, a little bit with the assassin right now, but that's maybe changing some. If it's never going to change, well, congratulations on the assassin. It's very, very broken at the moment. But other than that, these classes move around all the time when changes come in, and when new things get added and stuff like that. And especially with the especially when we got these new would I call them talent skills? Yeah, these new skills changed up the meta, of course, of what is best, and that's why also the assassin is broken at the moment. And there might become some nerfs, some fixes, some changes. So if you're watching this video, assassin might be the worst class there is on it. So it's always subject to change, and just keep that in mind, that this is not, even though I'm making the video right now, in the future it might change, and you might be playing the best class there is there. But as the in-game player that I talked to, even assassin, if the person that is an assassin don't know how to play assassin, even though the assassin is very strong at the moment, they will still not do the DPS or do whatever role they have to do or whatever job they have to do perfectly if they don't know how to play the certain. So even playing the worst class can actually be the most rewarding or best in raids. And we're talking about raids because you can take whatever you want, and we're also maybe also talking about dungeon, but that's my point. Like all classes has a specific, or can do something in the different ones. But I'm just rambling on now. What you clicked on the video, I'm going to show you here, and it's going to be the tier list. And again, I'm not an expert, keep that in mind. And also, if you comment down below, just keep that in mind. Keep the comments in a positive way, please. Again, can't emphasize this enough, I'm not an expert, and I am you should go to the comments and see if somebody is a little bit more expert than I am, but that's also people's sometimes own opinion on what is good. But anyways, let's go to the tier list, and you can see what I think myself. Alright guys, we are now in the tier list part, and again I just want to emphasize I am not an expert at this at all, but I know a few bits, and I'm also taking in the knowledge that I got from the people that I've talked to. And before we start, don't go to the end of the video because I might change some of them around when I'm talking about it. So keep up with kind of what you, or look for the video if that's just what you want to do. But I might change them some around based on what we're talking about and whatnot. So without further ado, let's just jump into the different classes and whatnot. But I do want to say one thing before we start. I'm just going to take the knight, for example, because I like the knight and I play it myself. It's not in the S tier, so before you say, oh, that's wrong, and you go to the comments, that's wrong, I'm just going to explain something, and I'm going to take the rune blade, for example. So the knight might be in the S tier, but that doesn't mean that the rune blade, for example, is that much significantly worse than the knight is, for example. It might just have other, not abilities, but other skills that doesn't do, like, more utilizes things, but it can be very necessary for doing raids and stuff like that, or at least help it to make it somewhat easier. And also, there is enough, you would say, change to them, or I wouldn't say change, I would say there's enough marginally different in them to have them in different tiers. So I'm gonna take them out of the list before we jump into what the S tier is. So just keep that in mind, that even the one being S tier, it might be quote unquote as you know, strong as the B tier, but at least there is enough to make them in different tiers. That's at least what I wanted to say. All right, cool. Enough blabbering. Let's jump into the first one, and it is Berserker. Berserker is always going to be on the top, I'm pretty sure. It's always bound to change again, but with the spin move or spin build that there is, I think the Berserker will always keep up there, because it might not be the top tier build. If you're going into raid, you are a Berserker and you're going into raids, make sure you research what builds are better for you know, the Berserker, if it's the spin move or if it's the, I think it's like self-cast something, but the spin move is at least going to be so friendly or noob friendly, I guess, that it's gonna do some kind of damage, right? That's what I mean. Compared to some of the other ones that has a lot of skill, you know, range skills and also I guess targeting skills and stuff like that can miss, or you can be out of range and then you don't hit it, or the boss moves basically. And that's also one of the pros with the Berserker, and is that you are always going to be wanting to be close to some of the what's it called, bosses. But that's also a downside, because sometimes the bosses have some kind of intermission where they move away, but you can still hit it as a range class. But you do have a few abilities through you know, shards and stuff like that to hit the boss, but it's not going to do the same as a range class, of course, is going to do. But then you're going to shine when the boss is in melee range, basically. But I think it's going to stay up there, at least, you know, an S tier or S tier or an A tier, just based on the basic of that spin build, basically. But up there is the Berserker. So the next one is going to be the broken class right now, which is the Assassin. So right now the Assassin is super broken, and that's why I'm putting in the S tier. It might change, it might go down. I doubt it's gonna go all the way to the S tier. That would be really crazy. B tier, also quite unlikely, but maybe it's gonna end up in the A tier when they are going to maybe nerf it or fix it. But if they are never going to change it, congratulations, you would now still have an OP class. And Assassin is quite fun to play. I have one myself, and I kind of like it. I definitely like it. Not as much as some other classes, for example, Berserker, like that one more, but Assassin is definitely quite good. And it's just broken right now. I'm not an expert in the Assassin, and for me it's just a melee class, to be honest. So I'm not gonna go into more about the pros and the cons about that one, because I wouldn't say it's a berserker as well, but it's also a melee class, and it also has the ups and downs as a berserker has. The next class is in the A tier, and it's going to be the Thief. And what I know when I played a lot of MapleStory is that the Thief is a very, very strong class. Maybe it's even like S tier class, but it's also very hard to master, at least what I have heard. But it might have changed since then, I am not sure. So keep that in mind if you pick the Thief, that it might have a very high skill level to be playing. If you are going for a melee class, take the Berserker, or maybe a Knight, maybe Runeblade even, but at least if you're going for something like that, of course you can also take the Assassin since it's broken right now, but it's, like I said, it's probably going to be fixed or nerfed at some point. But the Thief has always been up there. It's basically a high skill, high reward kind of class, but very, again, would not recommend you taking a Thief. And if you have already, well, then you have a lot to master, at least what I've heard. I have not played a Thief myself because I was recommended not to go Thief at all because of the skill level and stuff like that. So I picked some other classes and now have filled out my whole class list. So I don't have any room for any more of the free slots that you get. I haven't bought any of the ones you can buy from money. But the point is that the Thief is there, and I don't know how to play the Thief, but I know that it is just up there. The next one would be in the A tier, that would be the Striker. And again, I do have a Striker actually, and I have gone a punch build on it. You can go kick or you go punch. I don't know which one is the best for raiding. Again, this is not a guide on how all the classes work and stuff like that, but it is also a melee class. And well, so far we have 4 melee classes in the top, so melees are not that bad, right? But they do have the disadvantage of being melee, and you do have to be in range. But again, they have tried to fix that, I think, with a lot of those shards and stuff like that, so you can kind of do something at least while you are, or the boss is out somewhere doing things, or you have to hit it from range then. But I guess that's also why you want to keep in some mix of all classes and not go only melee, for example. But the Striker is in the A tier. Again, don't know if punch or if kicking is what is best, but again, research that just with, like I said, about the other classes. So not to make this video too long, we're gonna step really quickly into the B tier, and the B tier is the Wizard. And the Wizard, again, I don't know a lot about it. All I know is it's a rank class, but something I do know is that it's a great starting class because of the simple gameplay. I think it's just, you know, throw everything at the monsters and then it basically defeats them, right? So that the Wizard is definitely in the B tier, and I think also why it's in the B tier is that it's because of the simple gameplay. It might move up to like an A tier, but I don't think ever it's going to be in the S tier. That would be, I wouldn't say crazy, but I don't think they're going to change the Wizard that much. I don't think it needs changing, because then it might have to need, just like the Thief, it probably needs some harder mechanics or something that to skill or to master before it should do. Like if the mechanics is super easy, I guess that's with this Berserker, right? But if the mechanics or the skills is very easy to use, then it also should reflect that on the damage, because else it would just be like the easiest class doing the most damage basically, and that wouldn't really reward people being skillful in that sense, right? But that's just what I'm thinking. Nixon, as making the game, don't know what their you know, plan is with the Wizard, but the Wizard is there, and it's quite strong as being one of the recommended classes, I would definitely say, for MapleStory 2. So the next class that would be in here, that would be the Heavy Gunner. So Heavy Gunner, I really like it. I like the plasma gun, and I just, you know, can just keep going, and I really like the Heavy Gunner. It's my third best, or not third best, but third favorite as just gameplay wise. I'm probably not a super great Heavy Gunner, but I like the class as it is. And again, it's a range class, so it does have some benefits to doing whatever. And I think whatever you do with the Wizard or with the Heavy Gunner, you are probably going to do significant, or not significant damage, but you're going to at least do some kind of damage, and at least that can be even you might not be number 1 at DPS, but you're at least going to contribute to the feat of the raid boss or whatever you are doing, basically. Yeah, or dungeons could be as well. The next thing I would say is the Soulbinder in the B tier. Soulbinder would be here if we're talking one that goes DPS. We're talking clearly DPS. We're not talking really DPS here. Well, of course, some of them is only DPS, like the 6 we have talked about right here. They're only DPS. So the Soulbinder is also, if you have your glasses on only looking at DPS, the Soulbinder would be in the B tier for DPS if you're going that. But some people also go to Soulbinder as a support. So definitely, if we're talking DPS, it's not going to be, or if you're talking, if you're talking support, it's not going to be in the B tier. But you can put the all the support classes. You can even take the priest and put it in here as well. Not because of the DPS, but also the Soulbinder here for support. And the priest is very much support, not the big damage dealer. No matter what you do, you can do some damage. Of course, there's always a route for doing damage. But if we're talking utility, they're definitely here, or maybe even up. Even would be like maybe like this, for example, for support and utility, basically. But if we're looking like a little bit about DPS, then the Soulbinder is there, and you would not go any raid without a Soulbinder or a priest because of just the sheer utility that it brings. You wouldn't probably not bring 10 Soulbinders or 10 priests, but you would definitely bring one of them just for the utility and the shields and the buffs and stuff like that. Very, very neat. So if you if you play in a main as a priest or Soulbinder, you're definitely not useless or anything like that. You're not gonna be like, hey, let's bring a Soulbinder or a priest for DPS. It's more like gonna be for the other things. But you can do it, and you can also do decent with it. So that was the last one of the Soulbinder. I'm gonna move the Soulbinder later on, but for now it's in the B tier. So next thing would be the Runeblade in the C tier. Yeah, we're getting down there, but the Runeblade is also kind of down there. It's a melee class, but it's just not on par with what the other ones are. And I couldn't tell you why it's down there. And if you are a Runeblade, you can definitely also move it up further depending on how good you are. I know a streamer buddy that actually is a Runeblade. I don't know how he hasn't been streaming for a long time MapleStory, but when he did, he actually played a Runeblade, and he was doing top tier stuff, of course. So don't know how far you can take it now, but this is where it ends up as of right now. And again, if you're picking a class, definitely pick one, and you want to go melee, definitely pick one of these up here. Maybe not the thief, but you can take any of these. And if you again have a Runeblade, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. It's not that bad, I guess. But this video is getting long, but we still have 3 classes to talk about, and the next one is the Archer. And the Archer is very simple in its gameplay as well. Not very simple. I would say it's maybe a little bit more advanced than the Wizard, but I might be wrong on that because I don't play a Wizard myself, but I play an Archer, and I feel like the gameplay is quite good, but it's also very simple in its works, whatever. But we're talking about DPS, and it's not going to move anywhere. The Soulbinder is probably going to move, somewhere, because of not DPS, because of utility and stuff like that. So the Archer is going to be there, but I do like the Archer, and it has some quite fun abilities, I would say, like very simple but quite fun. I do like the Archer, and I wish it was stronger than it is. And here the Knight, it's probably going to be in the B tier. I would definitely put it there. It has a few skills that do significant damage, but it's not really to say. It's mostly. You can go tank on it. You can definitely go tank on the Knight. I do play it myself, and I think it does okay damage if it hits with some of the skill abilities that it has. It can definitely do some damage. I would not put it in the A tier. I would not I would put it in a B tier just because I want to be nice, but it might end up in the C tier. But you can go, like I said, tank on it, but there's not really much tanking going on in you know, in MapleStory 2, there is some utility spells it has that it can be used, but it's very niche when you put those in there, and some people might use them and some might disagree. I am very uncertain on the knight where it really has to end up at actually, but I do like the gameplay of the knight. It is my main, and I still really enjoy playing it, since I just kind of like it, and I played it from the beginning, so I guess it just has a special place in my heart, if you can say it like that. But I want to put it in a B tier because I'm not sure where I should put it, and again, I want to be nice, but I could also just end up putting it here, so I'm gonna put it here for now, just because it's kind of in the middle. It's not super good, it's not probably super bad. I don't think it's down here, but it could be close to the Runeblade actually. Alright, so the last class that we have is the Priest, and I love the Priest as well. I'm gonna put it in the D tier, and it doesn't mean that it's the worst one, it's just the worst one compared to like DPS. Again, it could also move up a little bit, as can all the classes. I guess they can't move further up, but my point is that they can, of course, where I put them can move up depending on how good you are with the class and what gear you have, and how things change. It might end up that the knight suddenly is like the most OP one that is, right? But it moves up and down, but for now we're just gonna put it here. Again, they're very close to each other, but the Priest is in the D tier of you know, extremely supportive if you choose to do that. At least that's what people want. If you want to do DPS, take something else than that is more designed to do so. That the Priest is most designed to be support, but of course they don't want to have somebody that's only support. You can't kill monsters by yourself by supporting yourself, but it does have that, and it can also move up here, I guess, a little bit with the DPS. But I also want to put, but it's very utility, and I want to put the Soulbinder down here where we're talking about, we're looking at DPS, but their support build. But if we should talk about support, I would definitely put him like this for if we're looking only at, for example, if you're only looking at, you know, support or utility, then of course I would pick a Priest over a Soulbinder. But again, it's very close to each other, and I can also move them around here if you feel better about that. But I am gonna put them here in having the glasses on that kind of talks or looks at DPS as a whole. And but a Priest brings a lot of utility, is very also very important to the raids. You wouldn't again go 10 priests, but you would like to go at least one. That's what I would do if I should make a raid. I love to have a priest with me. Soulbinders a little bit less, but then again, Soulbinders probably do a little bit more DPS than a priest does, if depending on what the priest goes DPS or the other one goes you know, also DPS. You know, I would think the Soulbinder does a little bit more, but utility wise, priest is absolutely god tier. That's at least in my opinion. So again, this video became quite long, maybe a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I also explained a lot, and I hope you guys agree with this. I tried to do as much research as I can, and before you hit that dislike button, comment below like what you basically think about what the tier list should be and stuff like that. And I want to thank everyone who commented on the last video, and also for the end game player. I won't mention his name because I don't want you guys to all spam him and stuff like that. So, but I do appreciate you guys watching this. If you like this video, if you agree, make sure you like this video, subscribe maybe. If you don't like this one, think about this, not disliking as first, but put your questions or remarks or something like that in the comments, and I will answer them as good as I can. And then if you don't like what I answer your question, I of course, you are much welcome to dislike this video. But again, I would like to see you comment something first before you just dislike the video. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and I appreciate it very, very much. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!